What's up everybody, Tony here with High Tech Check, and today we're going to be taking a look at Umidigi's Bison Pro cell phone. Now this is Umidigi's most powerful and most rugged phone yet. Now they do have a regular Bison phone, but the Pro has more RAM, a better processor, and a better GPU for gaming, as well as an infrared thermometer. And let me tell you, this phone is definitely a beast. And I will also be putting a link in the description in case you guys want to pick this up yourself. And if you guys like me and you want to support my channel, please use those links because it helps me keep purchasing products to do reviews for you guys. Now I will be going over all the features. I'm going to show you everything about the phone. But first, we're going to go ahead and see what you get inside the box. So it comes in this really nice yellow box. Here is the phone itself. We'll go ahead and put that off to the side for just a minute. All right, and here we get our manual. We get a red USB-A to USB Type-C cable. And then here we get the wall adapter, which is USB Type-A. And the output max is 12 volts, 1.5 amps. All right, so here is the phone itself. It definitely does have a good weight to it. It doesn't feel too heavy, but it does not feel cheap at all. It feels very sturdy and rugged. On the sides here, it has a metal strip. On the other side, it's got a metal strip too. And then all around the edges are reinforced in case you do happen to drop your phone. On the bottom there, you got your USB Type-C charging, your mic. On the sides here, you have your customizable button, which is accented in a orange, which is pretty nice. Here we have our power button, our volume buttons, which are separated. I always appreciate that. Here we have a headphone jack on the top, which is always appreciated. Your SIM card, your fingerprint sensor, and then we also have a push-to-talk or an SOS button on the other side here. Super nice phone. So here we'll go ahead and take off this little cover on the top. Very nice screen. And it also has a built-in screen protector, which is always nice. So you don't have to run out and worry about having nothing protecting your screen. This has one already built in. On the back here, we have our infrared thermometer, we have our flash, we have our 48 megapixel camera, a 16 megapixel camera, and a 5 megapixel micro camera. The 16 megapixel is a wide angle. And then here we have our little speaker. Looks like you have a little lanyard hole so you can put that through in case you want to maybe carry around your neck or something. And then on the back it's got that cover too that we can peel off. So the back feels really nice and rubbery, very rugged feeling. I love the way that the cold metal sides feel. Very nice phone. Doesn't feel too big, feels good in the hand. Buttons are clicky, easily accessible. And that fingerprint sensor, if you happen to be left-handed, it's right there by your thumb. And if you're right-handed, your index finger fits right over it as well. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and go over all the specs. It has a Helio G80 gaming processor that can go up to 2 gigahertz. It has up to 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage, and it uses LPDDR4X RAM. It has an ARM Mali G52 2EE MC2 GPU up to 950 megahertz. It's waterproof, dustproof, and shockproof. It has an IP68 and IP69 rating. It has 2 independent customizable buttons, a push-to-talk and an underwater camera button. It has an AI triple camera setup, one Sony 48 megapixel with a half-inch sensor, one 16 megapixel ultra-wide angle camera with a field of view of 117 degrees. It has a 5 megapixel macro camera with a 2.5 centimeter macro distance. The rear video capture can do 1080p at 30 frames per second. It also has a front Sony 24 megapixel selfie camera that can also capture 1080p at 30 frames per second. It's got a 6.3 inch full high definition screen, which has a resolution of 2340 by 1080, and it also uses Corning Gorilla Glass. Like I said before, it has an infrared thermal camera, a barometer, and an e-compass. It also has a 5,000 milliamp hour huge battery, 18 watt fast charging, stock Android 11, and it also has NFC for Google Pay. It also supports 2 micro SIMs and a micro SD card, expandable up to 256 gigabytes. And as you can see at the bottom, all the LTE bands that it does support. So let's go ahead and turn it on and see what it can do. Alright, so I got the phone all loaded up with all my apps, but first we're going to go ahead and kind of take a look around again. The SIM card tray slash micro SD card tray simply comes out if you have maybe a fingernail or something like that. You can kind of get in here and you just pull it out just like that. Now, you have the option for dual SIMs or 1 SIM and a micro SD card. So I have T-Mobile. I'm going to go ahead and put my SIM card in so we can make some phone calls and see how that sounds. Okay, so that is in there. We'll go ahead and see what happens. As we can see, it does say 4G up at the top, and it's doing voice over LTE, so that's pretty cool. Full bars, voice over LTE, awesome. So now this does have the fingerprint sensor on the left hand side. It also does have face recognition. That seems to work pretty well, so I have that in there too. I'll go ahead, and all you need to do is kind of raise it up and look at it, and it unlocks. So I'm going to do that one more time, and it's unlocked. Now the fingerprint sensor is really cool as well. There's nothing to press. All you need to do is just put your thumb against the fingerprint sensor, and it immediately unlocks. Works perfectly. I'll show you that again. Perfect. Now there is no tap to wake on the screen. All you need to do is simply, like I said, raise it up, look at it, and it unlocks. Or you can use the fingerprint sensor. You can also shut off the raise to wake too if you don't want that option, and you just want to simply either press the power button or the fingerprint sensor on the side. Either one of them works really well. Now as far as the screen goes, the screen looks really crisp, very nice for only a 1080p screen. Looks really good. As you can see, all my apps that I do have loaded in here already, everything's very snappy. There is no lag whatsoever. Very nice. There are swipe gestures too, so if you want to go, say we'll go to the Play Store and maybe we'll look at some movies, and you want to go back home, you can swipe up to go home, or kind of do like that to go to your recents. Everything works really well. Very snappy, like I said before. So let's go ahead and make a phone call. We'll see how good that sounds.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me very well?
I can hear you very well.
Excellent. You sound good too.
That is good to hear too.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
So as you heard from that phone call, the speaker is very loud. The voice is very crisp and clear, and as she said, she could hear me very well too, so that's always a plus. So let's go ahead and go to YouTube real quick, and we'll go ahead and look at one of my videos, see how loud that gets. What's up everybody, Tony here with High Tech Check, and today we're going to take a look at AceFast's iPhone 12 series MagSafe wireless charger. Now you can pick this up right now off Amazon, and I will be putting a link in the description in case you guys want to pick it up yourself. And if you guys like me and you want to support my channel, please use those links because it helps me keep purchasing products to do reviews for you guys. So this wireless charger is really nice, I must say. It is made of all aluminum. It kind of reminds me of the iPhone 11 build. It's all rounded off, and like I said, it is made of all aluminum. The top here again is made of a nice all aluminum. It's got a plastic piece here for. So the sound is loud. There aren't stereo speakers. The only speaker that's on here is the one on the very back here. And as you could hear, if you put your hand behind it or lay it down on a desk or something, it gets even louder. But just holding it up and looking at it, from my vantage point right now, it sounds really loud, and the picture is also really nice and clear, so that's always a plus too. Rotation works really well. Swipe, again, working perfectly. So now another really cool thing is this toolbox. It comes with all of the different measuring tools and things that you need to utilize the sensors that are built in to the Bison Pro. One in particular is the thermometer. So it does have the infrared sensor on the back here, and they want you to hold your device 1 to 3 centimeters from somebody's forehead, right? So what we can do is kind of hold it up to my hand. We'll hit measure. That's in Celsius. We'll click Fahrenheit here. There we go. 97.5. So that's what it's saying my temperature is. Now you can also measure objects if we just select the objects. And it basically works pretty much the same way. So that's pretty cool. It's got a built-in thermometer. If we go back here, we have a barometer. As you can see, it shows our altitude and the millibars for the barometer. We have steps. We have a compass. Very cool. Back. We have a protractor. Really neat. We have an alarm, a magnifier, measure height, picture hanging, a bubble level, noise test, flashlight. There's the flashlight in case you're interested. It's pretty bright. So that's a lot of tools that it comes with, which is pretty nice. You don't have to go and download anything. Everything's already put in. Now, as far as the viewing angles go, they're almost 180 degrees. Like the screen does not get darker, even though I turn the screen like some screens do. I don't know if you can see this on the camera here, but I'll try to represent it as best I can. As you can see, everything seems to be still clear. It's harder to see, obviously, from the side, but everything is still really nice and clear. So another thing, we'll go into our settings here. You can also change this to dark mode to save some battery life as well. So we got network internet, connected devices, apps, notifications, smart key. This is where you go to signify what you want these little buttons to do on each side. And you can set each one to do separate things. So you can do single click, double click, and long press for each one, which is nice. So that gives you like 6 different options that you can do with those extra buttons. Right now I have the side to open up a thermometer. Very cool. You can also open up a favorite app of yours if you want to. Here's some preset things. You can do none. Open a certain application that you like, which is awesome. So 6 different things that you can do with those 2 buttons. So that's pretty cool. We have Smart Assistant. You have gesture controls, glove mode, which helps you use the screen when you have gloves on. Navigation bar. We have our battery display. Our brightness level right now is at 100%, and it does have adaptive brightness. Here's your dark theme. You can turn that on or off. I just have it on so I can show you this a little better. Sound, our storage. So as you saw, all the apps I had installed, right now it's only used 33 gigs of 128, which is pretty good. Got your privacy, location, security, different things you can do to lock your screen, pattern, fingerprint, face unlock, smart lock, accounts, accessibility, digital well-being, Google, DuraSpeed. Basically what this does is it helps boost the foreground app by restricting background apps. Some notifications may be postponed or not received. Our system and about phone. So like I said, it's very snappy. Everything works really well, even though I do have all these apps installed. The next thing I kind of want to do is play some PUBG. We'll see how well that works out. All right, doesn't look like there's any lag. And I just want to show you my graphics. So I have the graphics up as high as they will go. HD is the most because this is only a 1080p screen. And I do have the frame rate set to high. And everything seems to be working just fine. So as you can see, there's no lag. Moves pretty well. So I definitely think if you're planning on gaming on this phone, you're not going to have a bad experience. I've been playing this PUBG game now for probably the past 20 minutes. I've experienced no lag. The graphics look great. So I think pretty much anything you're going to throw at it, it's going to be able to handle. One thing that I would like to mention is the fact that this does have a weak vibration motor, and that goes the same for pretty much any Umidigi phone that I've tested out so far. It seems the vibration motor is very, very slight. You may not even feel it if it's in your pocket, so it's just something to keep in mind. So here is the camera. I just wanted to show you that macro lens. It comes in handy. Very cool. So here I have a little SIM card tray for another phone that I have, and there's some writing on there that I just can't make out. Now if I take this and I put it over the little tray, and as you can see, it zooms in a ton. Like, I can read that very easily. So if you need to read things maybe on a menu or something like that that you can't see, you can use this micro lens to read really small text. And then here's a picture I took of the back of a $5 bill. Honestly, how many of you knew that Lincoln was actually sitting there? It's so small that you might not even have seen it without using this phone's macro mode. Here we have our video. Can do full screen. There's a lot of different options you can pick here. You can turn the location on and off, the grid lines, shutter sound. Here's your video quality, which you can change, and then turn the microphone on and off. We have beauty mode, which makes you that much more better looking. We have portrait mode and some extras. We got pro mode, panoramic, night vision, slow mode, slow motion. And because of the IP68 rating, if your phone gets dirty, you can simply just wash it off underneath some water. And as you can see, as soon as the water stops, the touch resumes on the phone instantaneously. And then here are some clips of some underwater video. I put some paint bottles in some water to give it some color. I actually do think that it takes some pretty good video even underwater, and the mic is still active even though it is submerged. One thing to keep in mind is you really don't want to use this in salt water, but if you happen to, I would definitely wash it off with fresh water as soon as possible, and then let all the ports dry out before you charge it up. Okay, so now I want to try out glove mode. So as you can see in the settings, if we go into Smart Assistant, glove mode, I do have it on and I do have my gloves on. So go ahead and swipe up from the bottom. And as you can see, it is working. And then if we go ahead and turn that off, see that the gloves no longer work. No touch is working. So it actually works pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to test out how good the screen brightness is in direct sunlight. As you can see, the sun is directly behind me, shining right down onto the screen. And the screen is at 100% brightness. So this will give you some idea of how good you can see in a direct sunlight like this. As you can see, we can still see the screen. We'll go ahead and go into the settings. From what I'm looking at, I can still see the screen pretty well. I'm sure you can too. Let's go ahead and go into something else here. I can definitely see the screen without any issues, even with the sun shining directly down onto the screen here. I'll go ahead and go into one more thing. Go into the Play Store here. Yeah, and I can easily see whatever's on my screen. So you can pretty much bet that whichever brightness you're going to bring this phone into, you're going to be able to see what's on the screen. I'm in Colorado right now and the sun is super bright, so I don't think it's going to get any worse than that. And then here's another test with the sun pointing towards me. So it's not directly on the screen, but we are still out in direct sunlight. And I can still easily see what's on this screen. Go into the settings again. Yeah, I can easily see that. Scroll up a little bit. And there's the Play Store again. So again, this will give you a good idea of how good the screen is during a really bright day. Okay, so now we're going to do some video recording from the rear camera. This is 1080p at 30 frames per second, and all the audio that you are hearing is coming directly from the camera itself. So this will give you some idea of how good the video and audio quality is using the rear camera. From what I can see on the screen, it looks amazing. Give you some nice green color for contrast. And we'll face the sun here. See how well it does with that. Seems to come back into focus pretty good. And then here's a good representation of what the selfie camera is. Right now I'm facing the sun, so it's not in the camera right now, and I will turn around just to give you guys an idea of how well it records while the sun is directly in the camera. But it seems to be doing pretty good. Camera seems pretty nice. Again, the front selfie camera is 1080p at 30 frames per second. So go ahead and turn around and put the camera towards the sun. And there you go. So the picture still looks pretty good from what I can see on the screen. Doesn't really wash out a lot. Changes pretty good. Very nice. And then here's some more camera samples that I took with the Bison Pro. Some with the macro lens, some with the regular lens. I definitely think it takes pretty nice pictures. The color is pretty accurate. They also seem to capture some pretty good detail as well. These photos were taken with the rear camera's 48 megapixel lens, as well as some wide angle shots too. And then here's some nighttime shots that I took with the camera, with and without the night mode, just so you could see how much it actually lightens up the picture. Here I went a little extreme and I turned all the lights off near my front door, took a picture, and then I took a picture with the night mode on. And as you can see, it does brighten up the picture significantly. So now if you're wondering how good the battery life is,
hold on to your butts.
I got almost 12 hours of screen on time. As you can see from the screen, I let it go down to about 3%, and I still had about 26 minutes left. So that gives me pretty much over 12 hours of screen on time. So let me tell you what I did. I basically just set the phone down, I put it on Wi-Fi, and I played YouTube movies for the whole time. So it was consistently on Wi-Fi, and I had the brightness up to 75% the whole time. Now, at about 15%, the battery saver goes on, but it doesn't seem to really affect anything. I didn't notice anything different. I had my background on dark mode the whole time, and when it's on the battery saver, it automatically does that. So I didn't see any difference, but 12 hours of screen on time is pretty amazing. This phone also supports 18-watt fast charging, and it charges up pretty quick, and it has this cool little animation when you plug it in. Now, one other thing that I did notice between the regular Bison and the Bison Pro is that the regular Bison has like this lip around each corner that protects the screen. But if we look at the Bison Pro, you'll see that the screen is pretty much flush with the edges of the phone. So if your phone happens to fall, it'll be protected by these edges, but then once it hits and then it falls, it's going to hit this screen, which I don't understand why they didn't put those raised edges like they did on the Bison here, because that definitely helped the screen protection a lot. So it's just something I noticed, something to keep in mind. So my experience with this phone has definitely been really positive. There have only been a couple things that I kind of wish they would change, and it's also in the regular Bison as well. One is the weak vibration motor. Now that's not anywhere near a deal breaker for me, but it's just something I kind of wish would be a little bit improved. And the next is when you're taking video, the audio is a little muted, but the video is great, pictures are great. The screen is amazing on this. Like I said, even for a 1080p, it's awesome. There's absolutely no lag in the UI, even after I've put in all of these apps. The phone is also built like a tank. It feels nice and premium to me. I am definitely a huge fan of the Bison phones. Like I said, they're super rugged. They got the nice metal edges on the side, and it's really got a lot of protection, and you don't need a case for this phone. I would definitely recommend probably getting a screen protector, but that's pretty much the only thing you're going to need for this phone. It definitely offers a lot, especially for what you're paying for it. So if you want a really rugged phone that's gonna take pretty much anything that you can throw at it, the Bison Pro is definitely the phone that you're gonna want to take a look at. So again, I will be putting a link in the description in case you guys want to pick this up yourself. And if you guys like me and you want to support my channel, please use those links because it helps me keep purchasing products to do reviews for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to let you guys know when I put out new videos. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.